Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the transatlantic part number TA Dl Svb53 Us3. This is a knob lock set. This is going to be available in the polished brass finish, as you see here, along with satin chrome as well. You'll change the US3 to US30 2D and you'll get satin chrome. That's what you'll get on that. Okay, so nice quality lock. Fantastic quality lock, as a matter of fact. I've been selling these grade 2 knobs from Transatlantic for a very long time, as a matter of fact. I feel the quality of this lock is really difficult to surpass, certainly in its price range. Obviously a knob, not going to be often in a commercial application. I do sell these to people in residential applications because it allows them to get a cylindrical construction type of lock, which is considered a better quality construction when compared to a tubular lock, and do so in a grade 2 lock, which would be considered heavy-duty residential or light-duty standard-duty commercial or heavy-duty residential is what it would mean. And nice, ball or orbit type knob is what this is. Okay, it's heavy too. At least with its box and its latch bolt and strike plate weighs 2¼ pounds, so it's not insignificant. Now let's go through it. You're going to get a couple of keys with it, as a matter of fact. Nice, smooth operation. Can be rekeyed without any trouble at all. You just have to remove the cylinder, repin, etc. It's a handed lock, meaning you'll have to be sure that when you install it, you have the teeth up, or I suppose the teeth down, however you like this lock to be, and that will depend on the orientation of the knob and the retracting hub assembly, which is over here, and that's the part that pulls the latch bolt back. Okay, adjustable. You're going to be able to make this work on, well, it's really just 4 1 3/4 thick doors. I don't think you're going to get this down onto anything thinner. Let's take a look. Yeah, you'll get it onto an 1 3/8 door. The issue being the latch bolt is 1 1/8 wide. So if you're installing this onto an 1 3/8 door, you're not going to have a lot of, you're going to have 1/8 of an inch of wood left over, not even really. 2 1/4 tall, 2 3/4 is the back set, and that's a dimension from the edge of the door to the center of the hole. There's nowhere on this latch bolt that you're going to measure 2 3/4. That's not how cylindrical locks are, because these attach to the edge of the lock body. Okay, like that. This being a keep function, and it's an entrance function, by the way, you'll have a deadlocking tab so that when the latch bolt is properly installed and communicating with the strike in the frame, this will be retracted, preventing this from being tampered with. You aren't able to push this in when this deadlocking tab is depressed all the way properly. Okay, prevents it from being shimmed open. You can have this in 2 3/8 as well. You'll have to order that latch bolt separately, as they're not included or as an option. This lock being used in commercial applications is going to include a 4 7/8 strike that you're going to see installed on a hollow metal frame. 4 7/8 tall, edge of the, the center line of the screw holes to the edge of the lip, typical at about 1 5/16. Then you'll get your screw package and a spanner wrench, because why? There's nowhere on here that requires a spanner wrench, so you're not going to use any of this feature here. You will only use this end to remove the knob. There is a spring-loaded tab that's inside that hole, and when you take this end and insert it and push up, you'll be able to remove the knob. That will allow you to unthread the interior escutcheon. That will allow you to remove the mounting plate. So in that screw pack, there are a total of 6 screws. There's those 2 long machine screws, and that's for going, once this is installed, through the plate, okay, and here is where that's going to go. Those holes are tapped. That's going to be your installation. Those 2 screws will go. You'll tighten that down. You'll bring your threaded rose, tighten that down, and you're going to want to get this balanced so that it's equal in the door. You'll want to, because you can adjust that in or out, you're going to want to make sure that the center line of your chassis is the center line of the door and get your rosettes balanced properly. Now you can use that spanner. Actually, I'm mistaken. That spanner wrench is going to be used to tighten the interior rose. So forgive me, that was an error. There's a little hole here that you'll get the spanner wrench installed onto, and then tighten that inner rose to tighten it down onto the door. Forgive me, I don't know what I was thinking. Obviously, tightening that hand tight is not going to work. You'll need the spanner wrench to tighten it a little bit further. That's the installation of the lock. Remove the inside knob, unthread the rose, pull the plate off. You've got the screws. The 2 machine screws. The other screws are going to be for the latch bolt and for the strike plate. Okay, 1224 for here, and then a typical, number 8 is what you'll have for here. Combination wood and machine thread is what's on that screw. So you can put it into a steel frame or a wood frame. It'll work either way. And after that, there's no other parts. Now, there's a link below this video to the product brochure, and that's handy because it will allow you to review all things lock related from Transatlantic. Grade 1, Grade 2 knob lever locks, Grade 3 locks as well. You'll be able to review ancillary hardware that goes along with it. Some mortise locks are in there as well, replacement cylinders, and a discussion of functions. Transatlantic lock sets are good quality. I like them. They're not my favorite that exist in the world of imported lock sets, but they're very good. My family has been selling Transatlantic branded material for decades, as a matter of fact, and their door closers and their exit devices are my favorite lines. Then we'll get to hinges and lock sets after that. But that group of 4 items is really going to get you very close to having complete door packages when you are, let's say, a subcontractor installing doors and hardware. So if you're installing this down to a metal door, you're in good shape, provided your door is prepped for it. If you are installing this down to a wood door, there is a link below this video to the installation instructions, and they are packaged with the lock naturally. But what you're going to find at the rear of that is a template, and it's there for your review, obviously, prior to ordering, receiving, installing the lock. You'll obviously not want to use that as an actual template. It's not to scale, so the paperwork that comes with the lock is what you might use. Typical 2 3/4 back set, 2 1/8 hole through the door, 1 inch hole in the edge, 1 1/8 by 2 1/4, 5/32 deep. The mounting plate is going to have a couple of tangs that are on it, okay, as will here and here. If it's a metal door, you'll have little semicircles at 3 and 6 o'clock. That's where those will sit. Your exterior rose also has the tangs, so you'll need to be sure that this is balanced prior to installation, because those tangs prevent unintentional rotation of the lock after use, trying to rotate it like that. That's what that's for. So get that balanced. And if it's a wood door, those are meant to just literally sink into the face of the door and help prevent the lock from moving at all. Now, there are also part of the installation instructions calls out how you are to remove the knob. That's really easy. Typical knob removal requires the key, and you're going to insert that into the cylinder, turn it 90 degrees clockwise, and hold the key turned clockwise. Hold the key turned clockwise. You're going to want to have the little hole that's here facing you. Clockwise 90 degrees, use your finger to hold that down, then using that end to press that same little spring-loaded tab that's in there, and you can pull that all apart. Okay? You'll be able to use that same tool to get the inner part of the back side of the knob off. I'm just going to use it as a lever to get that pulled off. Comes out. That tailpiece can be put horizontal, which you need for knob locks, or it can be removed with the C-clip and turning it vertical, which you would use for lever locks. Okay, relatively smooth operation. Not the best in the world because it's also not very expensive either. You do get what you pay for with locks, but you get more than you pay for, in my opinion, with transatlantic locks. Should you need to rehand it, you can do that. Put the cylinder back, and actually if you're not rekeying it, you wouldn't remove this at all, nor would you remove the back side trim collar of the knob. That will go on and back down. Should you need to rehand it, if you recall, the teeth were up and the hub was on this side, well, I'll put it on this side now. Just turn it 180 degrees and just make the two go together, really, is all it is. Now, what I like to do, actually, at this point, not what I like to do, the way that it's done, have the key in the cylinder at this point, because you're going to use that to hold the exterior after you get it pushed on and down. Horizontal tailpiece. If you look down there, latch bolt is here, right? That the receiving end of the tailpiece is also horizontal, right at the tip of my finger. That is going to go inside of there. We're going to get that pushed down over the stem. You're just going to get it completely pushed down until such a point where it doesn't go any further. And then as you turn the key, it's already retracting the latch. Same process. Turn it 90 degrees clockwise, hold it turned, and then use your little end of the tool, push that button down, and you'll be able to get it pushed all the way in. I like to do this with the lock in the unlocked position, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter if the lock is locked or unlocked. Some people just always do it unlocked. It doesn't matter. This is a entry function. I had mentioned that earlier, and I want to discuss that now. Go through the procedure of just putting it all back together. Knob. So where that little slot is at the tip of my finger needs to correlate with this hole, okay? Because that's where that spring-loaded tab is. And it will literally just pop back in, and then it's back on. And every time you install these locks, inside and outside, give it a good tug. You don't want to install the lock and drive 15 miles away on a Friday at 6 o'clock in the afternoon for your client to call you and say, the knob just came off in my hand. True story, actually. So always test it, give it a good pull, and make sure it works. This can be three functions. It can be a passage. Both knobs are unlocked at all times. It can be an entrance function where you push the button in, and every time that you exit and turn that knob, it will automatically unlock it. Okay, that's what's called an office function. If you have an application that would be an office function, such as small or whatever size commercial office area, 2 employees or whomever go into a conference room to discuss, close the door, push it for privacy, but as soon as they exit, it's going to be unlocked so that you're in good shape there. It can also be an entrance function where you push and turn. Now every time you exit, it will always stay locked on the outside. In a residential application, you're going to leave it as an entrance so that every time you leave and close the door, it will be locked. Or you will turn it into a passage, turn it, rotate it, it will pop out, bringing the groceries in. Then when you're done, relock it, it's locked. Perfect. Typical tour of this lock. I'm familiar with it, maybe too familiar to have forgotten about the spanner wrench, forgive me. If you do have any questions regarding the transatlantic lock, or any other transatlantic piece of hardware, please feel free to reach out to us. I am partial to the line because their door closers and their exit devices really stand alone in terms of caliber, quality, value, utility. I have lots and lots of years and thousands of sales for those products with practically zero failure. If you're a door installer, you're going to want to look at those items, because what you're doing is this. You're getting a good quality item at a very reasonable cost that you can give to your client base and say, listen, you want to spend a lot more money? We can do that. You want to spend less? We can do that. Here's the confluence of cost and value, and that's the transatlantic line, and I believe that. So if you have any questions on the transatlantic, this is their part number Dl Svb53. DL for dead latching. SVB is the series of lock. Knob, grade 2. 53 is the function, entrance function. Dash, US3 for the finish, or US32. D for satin stainless steel. Or any other transatlantic piece of hardware, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.